welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network for another episode of Under the Radar, where myself and my co-host here, CM, will discuss AEW Dark Elevation, AEW Dark, Ring of Honor, Impact. I will talk about MLW, and she will talk about BTE, and then we'll come together at the end and give you our. Each of us will have must-see three matches from all of those shows, so you can weed out some of the other stuff and just see the important stuff. So, I guess as usual, I tend to start with MLW, so I will go ahead and do that. I'll take over the stream for a minute here and give CM a little bit of a break. Let's see, this week on MLW, it was better than last week, I thought. We did have Enzo, Real One. He's not called Enzo, Real One, out in a wheelchair. He got hit by a car last week, and he's accusing Mance Warner of being the one that hit him. Says it talks a lot of shit as usual. Mance comes out, says it wasn't him. Then the feed gets cut into, and we discovered that last week the AO, I guess is what it is. Those were the people that were beating up people and leaving the cards. It's a Raven faction, so Raven is not wrestling, but he's managing a faction. And his main guy so far is Ricky Shane Page, who I've never heard of. But so the AO feed cuts in, and then Ricky Shane Page starts talking about you know who he is, blah blah blah. We don't, and that you trust in Raven. And then him and Mance Warner have a hardcore match, which is a really good match. Um, it is what it is. It's a classic hardcore match. Um, and they have a lot of back and forth, lots of good action. And Ricky Shane Page wins. Um, it's okay. We'll see. Real One came down at the end and hit Mance with a crutch, allowing Ricky Shane Page to chokeslam Mancer. I assume we're going to get Mance and Real One at some point here soon. Then Page puts a business card on Mance and then leaves. Then we have a Taya segment. She's wrestling Billy Stark for the never openweight title, or for the female middleweight title, MLW middleweight championship next week on Super Fight. So they have a little backstage back and forth. Um, Cesar Durant is out on the ramp for the next match. He's trying to recruit La Estrella, I guess. And this match is for the middleweight championship. Lince Dorado versus La Estrella. This is the best match of the show for sure. Two good luchadors back and forth. Lince gets the win. And Cesar Durant kind of is disgusted with La Estrella, and they leave together, but I don't know. We'll see if he tries to recruit him. He's already got John Hennigan and Taya, who are both champions now. He wanted to um, have La Estrella wins the title after he beat Lince, but Lince won. Um, and let's see. Then we had Alex Kane, Boombaye Club promo, hyping up his match in 2 weeks versus Davey Boy Smith. And then we had the contract signing with Court Bauer and Jacob Fatu, which isn't really anything you have to see, as most contract signings aren't. Then the main event was the Tag Team Championship. Hustle and Flow, Calvin Tankman, and EJ and Duca versus the Samoan SWAT team. Juicy Finau and Lance on Oahu, the Samoan SWAT team, got the win and are the new MLW Tag Team Champions. I'm assuming that this is going to be the breakup of Hustle and Power. They've been having some issues because EJ wants to focus on the Hammerstone's title, or the MLW singles title, and Tankman was a little pissy about it and feels like that's part of the reason why they lost. So I'm assuming we're going to get a feud between the two of them. This was actually a good episode, and next week should be good as well. So that is MLW in about 3.5 to 4 minutes. So uh, I will bring CM back in, and we'll move on to AEW Dark Elevation. So let's see. Oh. All right, we're both busy putting up the banner at the same time. Let's see. AEW Dark Elevation. This was really a missable show, unfortunately for me this week. I thought the only thing that really stood out to me, and it didn't make it in my top three matches must see, were probably Lucha Brothers versus Ryan Nemeth and Peter Avalon in the main event. I mean, I thought that was. I love watching the Lucha Bros, so I'm always good with them. And Nemeth always makes me laugh, as does Avalon. So Nemeth was great this week on BT, but you'll get to that. Um, and yeah, anything stand out for you on Elevation at all?
Just how far elevation has fallen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know that it's supposed to be their developmental stuff, but yeah, it's really squash matches is really what it is. What it feels like is like it feels like people that don't need developmental matches and developmental matches. Like Amy Sakura doesn't need to be having developmental squash matches. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
I, but I get
She's
why
good enough.
she's
Like
there. I get why she's there.
yeah,
I get that she is much like Sarah Stock, where Sarah's not probably not going to be on TV wrestling. Amy is, but make it interesting. Give it a storyline.
yeah, yeah.
Do so, like I'm yawning talking about Dark Elevation. I never thought I'd be doing that. Like there's so many. If you're gonna make it developmental. If we're talking about having another hour on TV, move some of these vets that are on developmental to the new hour, and then do it like that, and just go
Yeah,
with it.
yeah. So yeah, Dark Elevation was missable. Let's see if we move right along into Dark. Uh, let's see. Was there anything memorable on Dark?
Rio and Diamante.
Riho and Diamante. Yeah,
I
that's
am not
actually
gonna get. I'm not gonna get fully into that, but yeah.
it was a really good match. Actually, that's going to be my number three in my must see three matches for the shows this week. So I thought that was the best match of the show. And for what it's worth, Dark was much better than Elevation this week. So um, yeah, I mean I thought that was good. I'm trying to think. I thought Action Andretti versus Big Shotty Lee Johnson was a good match. I enjoyed that. What else? Anything else on there that I thought stood out? No,
I
not
think
really.
they could be an interesting feud going forward for the next few years
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because they're both so young.
yeah. I it's gonna. I love Dark Order and I like John Silver and Alex Reynolds. I'm ready for see them. I'm ready to see them do. For me, it feels like they should have been. As much as I like the Guns, they should have been in that Guns position. They would have been much better in that position with the titles, with the acclaimed, and that. Then I mean, I know you can't because you have the whole daddy ass thing, and I understand how that plays out because he's their dad and the whole Sesame deal and the acclaimed stuff. But I just think that the Dark Order. I want to see John Silver and Alex Reynolds more in the mainstream traditional push on the main roster. I'm tired of seeing them stuck on Dark and Dark Elevation.
Well, see, the guns work because the guns use. Dark
Yeah,
Order wouldn't work because Dark Order isn't a heel group anymore.
yeah, yeah,
So that's the only part about it. I do want Dark Order to win belts, but I am also starting to look at maybe Reynolds, Silver, and Grayson as winning trios, and that being really good. And having it have like a free bird rule where even Uno can sub in from time to time. Because if you haven't found out yet, guys, Stu's back! We got Stu, we got Stu, we got Stu. Yes, we do.
Stu Grayson is back. The whole thing is weird. He was gone, and then he came back for like one match, and then disappeared again, and then came back for a match and disappeared again, and now I guess he's back. So very happy with that. Let's see. Anything else? I'm just trying to glance over my
Yeah.
notes here to
So
see.
half of it was like good, but could be missable. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Julia Hart, Zoe Lynn. Nothing to really watch there. Sunny Kiss. That segment unfortunately was probably missable, which I really like Sunny Kiss, but that wasn't a very good segment. Yeah, definitely Rio versus Diamante was the biggest part or the
I
best
gotta
part of
jump out real quick because
that.
the other stream Is something happened? I'll be right back.
All right. So I will talk about uh, MLW a little bit more while she's gone, even though it says dark review on there, so we can wait for her to come back. Just to expand a little bit upon what happened in MLW. Let's see. So, um, in 2 weeks, we're going to have Alex Kane fighting Davey Boy Smith in a big money prize fight. And it's going to be in the UK. So, and he's obviously predicting that he's going to win. That's in 2 weeks. On next week's show, we will have Taya versus Billy Starks for the Women's Featherweight Championship, as well as Fatu versus Hammerstone next week, which should be a very good match. That's right now they're the two biggest names in MLW. And Fatu wants his title back. Uh, if I forgot to mention that at the very end of the show, or not at the end of the show, but before the main event of the show, um, Caesar Duran was actually abducted by his own henchmen, and they put a bag over his head and took him away somewhere. So I don't know what's going on there, or at least guys that we believe were his henchmen because he was dressed. They were in the masks that his henchmen wear. So, um, what was going on over there?
Anika's tablet died. So when she could plug it up, she got booted. Then Sammy tried to bring her back on and then booted himself. And then neither one of them could get back on. They're not
Um,
now.
all right. That's exactly why I told Timmy I got to get his email so that we can get him. He can be on as an admin also, so that on Saturdays he can or Fridays he can handle it all himself. So
Folks, when you watch this, please understand we film on Fridays while Friday Night Fights is ongoing. So if there are technical things, we have to handle it and have to jump out. And I'm not editing shit out. So what happened, whatever ALW was talking about, that is what it's going to be on the show.
I just ramble more about MLW. I just gave more in depth stuff about MLW.
Yeah.
Couple little things I missed, so not missed, but just I didn't talk about just because of for the sake of whatever brevity. But
Well, since you're here and you watched it this week,
yes,
what was your opinion on BTE?
what was my let's see my opinions on BT? It was hysterical, as it always is. Ryan Nemeth was funny. The whole oh my god, I'm trying to think of who's.
Translation for Orange Cassidy?
Yes, thank you. With Orange Cassidy, is funny. Ryan Nemeth makes me laugh just in general. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think. Whatever. What else happened?
Hangman and the banana. So
Oh my
Hangman,
god.
the
Oh my god. So I was looking at him like, so I heard him talk. I looked away and I heard him talking, and then I looked back and I'm like, he had his head turned, so all I could see was the bottom of it. I was like, is that a banana? This motherfucker talking on a banana?
yes,
Yeah. So he had a fake cell phone call on a banana.
yes. So he had a phone call with Evil Uno on the banana. He could not hear Uno at first because his phone was overwrite. And this is where we learn that Stu would be on AEW Dynamite because he's like, oh, well, if you can get him, yeah, it's been a long time, but if you can get him, we definitely need him. But like bringing Stu back is hopefully going to revitalize the Dark Order because Stu was the only one that Brian Danielson ran from. If y'all go back and look, when Brian Danielson was on that tear with Dark Order, anytime Stu came out, Brian said, "And shit, you wasn't gonna find him because he knows Stu is the man with the master plan." We also have the books kind of talking that well, the books in okay. So rewinding, going back
To the beginning.
to the beginning, we have Brandon Cutler singing the Elite anthem. and going ham and dancing all this stuff. Problem is, he's bragging about them being champions in the song. And when we cut, we see him doing the song, and them looking at him like, bro, what the fuck?
Right?
We just lost. We just lost.
Shit is hysterical. They're all too soon, Brandon. Too soon.
We have Trent that are breaking the rules. I don't know whose kid that is,
Oh
but
my god.
Trent rebellion. I love it. I know it makes me pop. I pop for this, but you gotta find humor in the sad shit. So that shit was funny.
I like Trent breaking the rules. That was
He was
hysterical.
playing around with the he's the reason we have all these audio issues. You know that because he
Eh,
was breaking the rules and he was messing with the stuff.
mess with the stuff. That's right. I love that. Just pull all the wires.
Shameful. Shame.
Uh,
But that was really kind of it this week. If you're looking for a quick 20 minutes or so of laughter, watch BTE. It was really good. It was really
yes,
good.
yes, yes, yes.
Last wrestling. Well, no. ROH and then Impact and then our three matches.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So ROH this week. Um, Not quite as spectacular as it has been in previous weeks, but I do see what they could build to.
Yeah. No, I like it. I mean, you're right. It's probably not quite as good as it was last week, but I like ultimately what they're doing with it. I think and what it could be. I'm happy to see other guys that are not getting AEW TV time getting time here. So that's good. Um, and I have a feeling that regularly because of what it is, and in comparison to the other shows, really Impact is the only other one that I would consider kind of on its level. So this will probably be our regularly best show of the week, um, just because it's above obviously Dark and Dark Elevation, which are basically developmental shows as well as not that MLW is a developmental show, but I would call it like it's definitely it's hard to say it's independent because they have contracts and it works a little bit different, but I guess I would call it an independent. Um, but yeah, I mean it's so and yeah, I enjoyed this week's ROH. Not as much as last week's, but I enjoyed this week's. Let's see. The only thing that I mean, I thought I'm always happy to see Mike Bennett. So him versus Dante Martin was a good match. Dante's always fun to watch.
Don't go too much into that because that's
Okay,
on.
all right. Let's see. Then we had an Eddie Kingston match, which was basically a squash match, which was fine. I like seeing Eddie get his squash essentially. Um, I thought whatchamacallit, Athena versus Hyann. That was a good match for what it was. I thought that she looked good for the first time I'd seen her. Um, Silas Young, I always liked Silas Young. Him versus Marcus Cross was good. What do you got to say about Ring of Honor?
I will say I loved seeing Don Castle and the boys. I
Hmm.
think Trisha Dora is being built up very nicely. Their women's division is actually being built up way better than AEW's, and I think that might have something to do with Maria being there. Maria, as much as we can give her grief, is a very creative booking model for women. I don't know how much she's booking in, but for women, she's really good. She understands storylines and crafting them, developing them, pacing them. I love
Yeah.
it. Um, Willer Yuta. I want I want folks to understand this is not the Willer Yuta that we were used to. This is not Willer Yuta that Romeo shits on. This is Willer Yuta. And bruh is pissed and he is letting everybody know he's pissed and he is like, I'm gonna beat y'all's asses. So Big Willer over there is definitely doing some things. It's gonna be interesting to see how that Blackpool Combat Club plays out as heels. Um, and while they're being heels, is Brian now the face? So there's a lot of interesting things there. Ring of Honor, I While it was not as good as it has been, I will say that this week makes me feel confident in them having a good a good run and being able to book solid shows around multiple people and build multiple storylines. Shout out to Willie Mack for that match against Claudio.
Yeah,
While you may not have won, Willie, I am very happy that more and more people are seeing who you are as a wrestler and the fact that you are that like you're as amazing as you are. So
I agree with that. That's an honorable mention. Check out for sure. Um, let's see.
the last show. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I was just gonna say one more thing about just that I really enjoyed Wheeler Yuta and Clark Connors. I think Wheeler Yuta's come a long way. I agree with you. He's come a long way. You're right. It's not at least. I mean, I don't think Romeo will say it, but I agree. It's not the same Wheeler Yuta that he likes to hate on. I think he's come a long way. He's doing way better on the mic. I thought his post match um, promo on the mic was really good, and I thought him calling out Shibata was really cool. So
Mhm.
I'm all for that. Yeah, I like Wheeler Yuta. I didn't dislike him before, but he's growing more and more on me every time I see him. So yeah, and the Blackpool Combat Club is definitely an interesting dynamic. I don't know how long they're. We'll see how long they'll last as a faction like that. But yeah, so the last show's Impact. I don't know about you, but for me it was down this week. There wasn't much. I don't have in my three matches for everyone to see. I don't have anything. Actually, that's not true. I have the main event.
I like Jonathan Gresham and Mike Bailey versus BDK.
Yeah, that was probably other than the main event. It was probably the best match.
Always
I
a
really
good.
I liked Zicky Dice when he was in NWA. I don't like him with Johnny Swinger, and I don't like Johnny Swinger, so I don't really care for the two of them being all over an episode. They were back and forth in this episode, and I didn't really care for that. They were on my TV too much. Um, Macklin versus Heath. I don't like Heath, so that does nothing for me. I'm glad Macklin won. Stupid PCO stuff with Eddie Edwards.
Peter.
Let's see. They had the Death Dolls versus the Coven.
We can skip that.
Huh?
We can skip that.
We just skip that. Uh, and then the main event, which was Josh Alexander, Rich Swann, and Frankie Kazarian versus Bullet Club, Kenta, Chris Bay, and Ace Austin, which is in my top three matches to see. This Impact, like I said, was down for me. Other than that match, I didn't think there was much really to see.
I think they're setting up something. I don't know what, but I think they're setting something up. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, we get Multiverse Impact Multiverse next Thursday. I don't know if it's got to be in lieu of Impact. They can't be doing both Impact unless Impact's not live, right? Impact's recorded. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if they're just going to show Impact as normal, I guess, but they have the live Multiverse on Thursday also. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do next Thursday. So yeah, so the last thing I thought was, and we can talk about it if you want, you can just mention them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in any order, like number 3, number 2, number 1. I just thought, since we do so many shows, we could just say, hey, these are the 3 matches that really stuck out to us that you really got to see if you're going to go back and watch anything. So if you want to go first, you can. If you want me to go first, I will.
Go out of your way to watch Riho versus Diamante on YouTube. It is free. It's a decent. It shows just how talented Riho and Diamante are. Please give them pushes. Tony Khan, they are amazing. Also go out of your way to watch. Oh shit, I just had it. For ROH, go out of your way to watch Mike Bennett and Dante Martin. I always get Dante and Darius mixed up, so I have to make sure I get the name right. Mike Bennett he was so underutilized in WWE, but him in ROH is amazing. Him versus Dante Martin is something I want to see again and again and again, because every time they interact or anybody around them interacts, it just works. I love it. And my main match that you really need to go see has to go to Blackpool Combat Club in Dark Quarter with Hangman. Um, Mainly because Stu is back, and also because it is a good match with styles that mesh extremely well, different personalities that mesh extremely well. And it was one of the matches that I think everybody left better than they came in. I want to see different versions of this fight. I think that once Eddie Kingston beats Claudio, I want to see Eddie versus Stu. Um, just because I want to see it. So yeah, those three. Go out of your way to watch those.
So let's see. For my three, we agree on Rio and Diamante. I think that's
Mhm.
definitely a must watch. Again, mine aren't in any real order, but that's a must watch. Go out of your way to check that out. On Impact, go out of your way to check out the main event: Josh Alexander, Rich Swann, and Frankie Kazarian versus Kenta and Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Six guys that can really wrestle, obviously, and there's a lot of really good spots. Lots of great wrestling, and one faction and one Frankenstein faction, both of which I really like. And Rich Swann and Josh Alexander have great chemistry. So, and then my other one is I'm drawing a blank on it right now. Hold on, where did it go? Oh, yeah, my third one was Wheeler Yuta and Clark Connors in the pure match or pure title match. Uh, Wheeler Yuta, we talked about it earlier. Wheeler Yuta's grown so much both in the ring and on the mic. Um, and his time with the Blackpool Combat Club, I think has been immensely valuable. You can just see how much he's grown. Clark Connors is fun to watch. I like him every time I see him. This was a really good high paced match. I like the pure title. I like the pure title rules. I always like those matches. So yeah, honorable mention to Trisha Dora and Madison Rain. That was a really good match as well. I like what they're doing with Trisha Dora. I really hope that she gets pushed against Athena for the Ring of Honor Women's title. I think that would be really good. And then I'd like to see her ultimately end up on AEW, maybe against Jade or in the title picture ultimately. No, you don't think so?
My problem is he Tony has not shown that he is capable of pushing multiple black women in the same company. Oh yeah.
I mean, my only argument to that, and I guess it's not even a viable argument, is that it's only been several years, and it's debatable how many. I mean, Jade, how many big black women stars he's had in AEW to promote in the 3 or 4 years that they've been a
Well, let's
company.
see. There is Jade. He has Swole. He has Athena, Layla Gray, Red
To be fair, two of the
Velvet.
four of them have titles right now. I mean, Athena is the woman Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and Jade is the TBS champion. That has been for
Yeah,
a
but
long
look
time.
how long she went without like a storyline. Look at what he's doing to Jade.
Yeah,
The problem is he has these talented women. He doesn't know how to use them. Like,
yeah,
yes, I understand Swole was sick at parts of it. Her record still was better than a lot of these women, and she never got her title shot.
yeah, for sure. No, I just think that I mean, I feel like it's fair to indict them no matter what, but the when you indict WWE on things like a lack of women's wrestling, a lack of diversity, they have so much more history of proving that that's not that's true. You know what I mean? Tony AEW's only been a company for 4 years, so I mean, it feels like yes, they should be doing more. They should already have more, but at the same time, they're still young to a certain extent. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Excuses, I guess.
If you can have multiple white men as your champions, you can have decent booking for everybody else.
No,
Like
I agree.
I have an issue with the fact that you only really see Sonny being pushed during Pride Month. Like he had a perfect storyline for Sonny and for Joey Janela that would have ended and made Sonny an even bigger star would have said Joey Janela to come back if he wanted to, or if they could work things out. Didn't. Like the Acclaim get over for being like stereotypical rappers. Like the same thing, the same criticisms that you could give to WWE, AEW has rightfully gotten and deserves because Tony Khan and them were putting out there, we are about diversity.
Right.
There are differences. So
Sure.
if you're about that, be about that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And to stop pouring fucking liquor on underage children because we're gonna come across the right one and get fucked up.
Yep. Yes. Yes. Well, I
Nate,
think that
that's us.
that's us.
All right. So we are live on Tuesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for the cookout. We come together, we talk about wrestling, and then it devolves. We drop a new All for Not on Wednesdays. Never quite know the time, but it'll be on Wednesdays. Thursdays, we're not here yet. Maybe have something in the works. We'll see. See how that works out for us. Fridays, we are live starting at 8 p.m. Eastern for Friday Night Fights. If AEW stays on at 10 or earlier, we can do AEW Rampage. If they come on at like 11:30 like they are tonight, I ain't staying over that shit. But we'll be there. Please make sure that you catch up with us on the weekends because usually we are streaming either GCW, WWE, AEW, Impact, or we just here. It's a wrestling show. We typically here. We love wrestling. We can't help it, except for New Japan because we be sleepy like that. So please come along on this journey with us. Make sure that you join our Facebook group. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube. And of course, make sure that you follow us on Twitter. Until then, next time.